Hi, thanks for joining. It's Ray with Tarot Living. So today I'm going to do a review on a book that is really a long time coming because the Tarot Illuminati deck came out, I think, in 2013, I want to say, and I did a video review of it probably 2.5 years ago, at least. And I've always meant to go back and do a review of The Complete Guide to the Tarot Illuminati by Huggens. And the reason I want to do a review on this is because it is my favorite tarot book, by far, hands down, of all books. I think it is one of the most useful books you could have in your tarot library and in your tarot, book collection. It is a go-to book for me, literally almost daily. I have kind of wrecked it. I have all kinds of highlights in it. I have tags all over. I just think it is truly an amazing book. I think that it has an in-depth description of all of the cards. And what I think is unique about this book is that the in-depth description is varied. So there's, the way I see it, 3 different ways of understanding the card, depending on the way that you think. Now, I am quite a logical thinker, and so I always say to people who are, really creative in the way that they look at tarot, and they'll be looking at the tarot cards, in, classes or in the tarot society that I go to, if I'm just sitting at the table and someone else is doing the presentation, I always learn from people because they look at the cards and they say, oh, well, that card, he has a cane that's, pointing this way or whatever. And I'm probably not the person who, would connect up 2 cards and look at the way things are pointing. I'm probably not as much of a visual looker at the cards, or I'm not necessarily the most, creative thinker of doing meditations, for example, with the cards. So that's why I think I tend to fall on the side of probably being more of a logical thinker. But there are those people who are more creative, who are more artistic, and can wrap their mind around the meaning of a tarot card in a different way than perhaps I can. And what I've noticed about this book is that there's different ways that she presents the cards. Okay, so I'm just going to actually take a look at a couple and show you what I mean in terms of the ways that she's presented this in this book. So I've just randomly opened it to Ace of Swords. So the first thing you're going to notice is that there is a paragraph at the beginning that is in italic. And the italics paragraph is actually what I would consider to be the most creative piece of it in terms of the writing that she's done on each card. So for example, the Ace of Swords, the italic section says, "In the beginning was the word and the thought and the idea. At the start of all things, there was the first sharp intake of breath and the following cry of a newborn child." And so she goes on to really create a mood, if I can say it that way, a mood and a creative way of expressing the energy of each particular card. And so that paragraph kind of brings it alive in a creative way. And I think although I'm not necessarily with tarot, I'm not necessarily as creative of a thinker, and so I wouldn't probably go to the paragraph, of course, to understand the meaning of the card for a reading. I think that it's a segue into, it's an avenue, it's a pathway into understanding the cards in a different kind of, it elevates it to a creative level. So there's that paragraph at the beginning of each card, and then there's also a section that she calls, sorry about that, there's a section that she calls Illumination, which is usually about 2 pages long. And then she also puts the astrological attributions for each card right before the Illumination section. And the Illumination section, to me, is an exploration of all of the nuances of the card. And it really gives a lot of understanding of the meaning of the card. So you would absolutely get some of the meaning of the card through these 2.5 pages of the Illumination section. Pardon me. And then the next section is the Revelation. Like I'm telling you, this book is really amazing. So you see that Revelation section? So the Revelation section is 1.5 pages, and that has a complete description of what the card actually means in a reading. So she says, in a reading, the Ace of Swords means. And so she actually breaks it down to, this is what it's going to mean if it comes up in a reading under the Revelation section. And then she has some keywords at the very end. And under the Revelation section, she also has a paragraph generally about the reversal. This book has it all, I'm telling you, in terms of understanding the tarot cards. The book is amazing. And the thing about the Tarot Illuminati is it's very Rider-Waite friendly. So although some of the unique symbolism that Eric Dunn put into the Tarot Illuminati as opposed to what's in Rider-Waite, some of the uniqueness she does speak to. But the general understanding of the cards and the general meaning of the cards is very in tune with Rider-Waite. So you can pick up, if you're reading along the lines of Rider-Waite or something Rider-Waite friendly, this book would be for you. And the other thing I want to talk about a little bit is that under each section, she goes into, as I said, the astrological attribution. She will mention it. So it isn't blatantly that you need to understand astrology, and I think that was done purposely, potentially. I mean, I'm just thinking. But I think it was done purposely that she weaves it into her meaning, but she's not specifically saying, loading you down with information about astrology and, oh, because this is Mars and Aries, don't you know that Mars and Aries is all about, fire energy and it's double fire. She's not going to go into all of those specific little details. But I feel that her meanings weave very closely with astrological attributions, and that is one of the reasons that I love this book. Okay, so in terms of some of the things that I can maybe point out that, could be a little bit more expansive, or any kind of, critique that I have about the book, I mean, they're fairly small, but one of the things is that I don't see in there a write-up about just the element in and of itself. So, for example, if we flip to Wands. So if we go to the beginning of Wands, the Wand starts out immediately on the Ace of Wands. So it just goes straight into the Ace of Wands right at the beginning. And what I would like to see, what I always like in books, is a really in-depth write-up of the element itself and how it connects. So Wands connects to fire. So what is fire all about? What is the essence of fire? And I think that would be a nice addition in this book. I don't see that. And then the other thing is that for the court cards, again, she launches right into the meanings of the court cards. So she starts with the pages, of course, which in this deck are princesses, and goes right to the Princess of Wands, let's say she starts with. So she doesn't have a write-up of the description of princesses, pages another, the Rider-Waite deck. She doesn't have a write-up of how a page can be interpreted in various ways and what the essence is of a page. So those are a couple of little critiques of things that I think could be added to the book. But, I mean, we can't have it all. And, overall, those are, it's kind of getting a little picky. I mean, every book can't have everything in it. But if I were going to just give a small little critique of what I would like to see, added to the book, those couple of things could have been added. However, overall, hands down, my favorite tarot book. And if you're going to get a tarot book, I always say to people, if you want a book that has more in-depth understanding of tarot meanings, I think it's good for beginners because there's still your keywords in here and it's not overly complex and loaded down with a lot of different, astrological or, Kabbalah information. I think overall it's a great book for beginners, but not only that, because the meanings are so detailed and can be so, they have complexity about them. It's great for intermediate and experienced readers as well. So, Complete Guide to the Tarot Illuminati, Kim Huggens, 2 thumbs up. I absolutely love this book. So you can get it on Amazon, you can get it at any bookstore. It's very popular. It actually won, I think, for maybe the Terosophy Award for the best written piece for that year. It was originally not published in paperback or in copy. It was actually a Kindle version. But I think they realized the value of it and it was becoming quite popular. And so in November, I believe, of the year after the deck came out, they did actually put it into a paperback. And this paperback has held up. I traveled around with it. I have abused it. It has held up. I got some, unfortunately, I got a little sticky stuff on the back yesterday, so I'll have to clean that up. But anyway, great book, highly recommended. Thanks for watching Tarot Living.